And hello fellow Taker Space Bandit here with another episode of World of Tanks, and today we are going to look at a couple of tanks that you will get to choose in the near future out of this Back in Black event that's going on right now. So we're gonna quickly take a look at AMX CDC French medium premium tank at tier 8, as well as we're gonna look at STA-2, which is its Japanese counterpart at tier 8. Now we're not gonna look at T34-3 because first, I don't have this tank on my Xbox account, and second, I've played that tank and it's quite underwhelming. So if you like some armor, that tank is maybe good for you, although you won't be able to hit anything with that gun that you have on there. Plus it has 0 gun depression. So I think out of the bunch, CDC and STA-2 are the way to go. Now, which one should you choose? Watch this video and make up your own mind. So looking at CDC stats, base penetration is 212 millimeters on AP shells and 259 millimeters of penetration on APCR shells, which is quite nice. Damage 240 average, aim time 220, but to be honest, feels a little bit worse than 2.2 to me for whatever reason. Accuracy is 0.34, which is not bad at all. Traverse speed 40 degrees per second. Turret armor, nothing to talk about there. This tank has no armor. View range of 390 meters is quite nice, but this tank plays up to tier 10. So yeah, tier 10. This tank is going to be difficult to play, especially with tier 9 and tier 10 light tanks in the mix, because this tank plays more like a light tank, to be honest. But without further ado, let's jump into the first game. So what I've done for you guys is I've played maybe 6 or 7 games in each tank, and I picked the best battle out of my run and I presented it to you here. These are not going to be anything spectacular, amazing games, but they will show you what these tanks can do. Okay, so in first game, we are on Arctic region. We got the South Spawn, and as you notice here, we got top tier matchmaking, which is quite fantastic for this tank. I've played these games during the day, so maybe that's why the matchmaking is so good, because if you would play in the evening with this tank, you'd probably be seeing yourself mostly as a bottom tier in a tier 10 matchmaking, which is not optimal. So that's one thing that I prefer on STA-2, because STA-2 actually has preferential matchmaking, so you won't see tier 10s at all, while in this tank you will see tier 10s. But anyway, let's concentrate on this game. Actually, both games that I'm showing you are top tier games, so at least from that perspective, they're somehow equivalent, so you can judge, you know, which tank you see yourself choosing as a part of this event. But if CDC gets matchmaking like this, obviously it's going to be a pretty good tank. Look at the speed, it's pretty fast. It gets up to what, 55, 56 kilometers per hour right here on the straight. So yeah, it you know, it can play a light tank role, that's for sure. But yeah, the turret traverse speed is going to be problematic, especially dealing with light tanks, because turret traverse on this tank is not that fast. It's kind of slowish. Also, if you notice, this tank is fairly large in posture, right? So it's relatively easy to hit if full silhouette is visible and people are shooting at you. Although if you just poke from behind the ridge like this with your gun depression, you know, this tank is hard to hit, especially if you maximize your gun depression, because I don't remember exactly specifically, I'll put it in captions below. I think the gun depression on this tank is -10 or -11, something of that nature. It's pretty good. So that's one thing I think that's better on this tank than the STA-2. This crew that I have in this tank is quite good. I think it has about, you saw earlier in the introduction screen, but it has at least 10 skills or perks. So this crew is really good, and yeah, this tank needs good crew, to be honest, in order, you know, to be decent. STA-2, the game I'm going to show you later, unfortunately I don't have a really good Japanese crew, so that tank has only, I think, 1 or 2 skills. I think it's just 1, to be honest, training second. So that's not really fair comparison, but I didn't want to play this tank without any crew skills. because it's already, I think, kind of difficult to play without it. But here you can see it's quite nice mobility, moves back and forth, traverse is pretty good, and it's going to show you how the gun behaves. And I'm gonna have quite a hard time trying to hit targets in this game, especially try to snap shooting. Now, STA-2 is probably the same. It's not very good at snap shooting itself as well. You have to fully aim those shells. But unfortunately, if you're dealing with big guns like this T-34, and he's aiming in one spot, you know, if he snaps you, he'll pen you easily in this tank. Like, the turret has 0 armor, right? Like, what is it, 30 millimeters or something? There's nothing you can bounce unless they hit that manlet. I don't know who penned me. Oh, it was a Dreadnought. He penned me here. He pokes out from behind the hill and snaps me. Yet I've been snapping this T-34 and I can't hit him. Figure that, right? Anyway, since half of my health is gone, we're gonna disengage from this position. I mean, looks like there's quite a few reds over there, and our team is just sitting in the middle here and getting swarmed. So I figured if I come up here, maybe I can help out a little bit. So that's exactly what I was thinking, but these guys are already shooting me from behind right there. As you can see, Gornish had shots at me. So we're gonna relocate to this area here behind that rock, and we're gonna try to use bushes in order to try to, you know, fire at him and not be detected. I don't think that's gonna be possible, but that's what I was thinking here. As you can see, I'm really cautious, and that's the problem with this tank. You're gonna find that you're gonna play really cautious, because anything sneezes on you and you're dead, to be honest. That's the problem, right? So we switched to APCR rounds. Probably don't need against the Gornish, but I like the shell velocity. That's one thing about this tank that I actually love, is the premium APCR shells. They're fantastic. While on STA-2 you get heat shells, unfortunately. And I do prefer APCRs, because this tank is a fairly good sniper, especially with APCR rounds, and you don't have to lead your shots that much. So yeah, those rounds are fantastic. But okay, we're gonna play it cautious here. The game is relatively close, so we're gonna try to stay in this area here right now, because we can't really move anywhere, to be honest. If we try to go left, we're gonna get spotted by this Gornish, so that's not optimal. And then people that are on the right hand side, or tanks that are on the right hand side, can put shells into us. So we're gonna try to aim up a shot here. Yes, we pen him here, and we're not spotted, so we could easily fire one more time. But now, because he's not spotting me and he backed off, it gives me ability to relocate. And that's what I was thinking here. Should I go left, or should I go further to the right and see if I have shots at these guys? Now, there are bushes in front of me here, so I shouldn't get spotted here. That should be a quite difficult shot, to be honest. At Super Pershing Scapola, it's never easy to hit it from a distance. And even though accuracy of this gun is not the worst, it's actually relatively good on paper, I'm gonna have some hard time hitting those shots here. And you'll see, like, I've already taken, what, 4 shots? I penned them here. And yeah, we're gonna remain in this position and see what's given to us. So whatever's presenting, we're gonna try to put shells into. This is the game style of this tank, guys. Honestly, you can't do in-your-face brawling, because obviously, you know, you have no armor, so everything will be able to pen you. Snap shooting in this tank is not the greatest either. You've noticed me doing that, so it's not like you can poke over the ridge and snap shoot and hit your shells. It's not gonna happen. So you're gonna have to play it selectively at a distance. And this tank is supposed to be played on big maps, so it's pretty good on big maps. That's what I was trying to say there. So yeah, we're gonna keep on sniping. And what's the distance here? We're gonna take a look at distance. I won't be spotted here. I have a decent crew in this tank right now, so I'm pretty certain that I'm not gonna get spotted. But we're gonna try to aim some shots at this bulk horror, and we're gonna have a hell of a time trying to hit him. This is 480 meters or something of that nature. I'm firing APCR rounds in the side of his turret. Some of them are bouncing, some of them are completely missing, as you notice here. Yeah, that's not going to be easy. Now, STA-2 will be very similar. You're not going to be able to hit those shots that well from a distance. But STA-2 is more of a tank that you play up close and you brawl because of the rate of fire. although it's, you know, the turret armor of STA-2 is also butter. But that's how I play that tank. I mean, so I guess the only advantage that CDC has is the fact that you can play it at a distance and it has better accuracy from a distance, and you don't have to get yourself up close and personal. With STA-2 you wouldn't be able to do this. You have to get up close in order to play. Anyway, so we cleaned up this side nicely, mostly sniping to be honest, but now we're gonna go after the last tank. And last tank is VK101, so pretty hard armor to crack, and I don't have any APCR shells left, so we're gonna have to go after him with our AP rounds. Hopefully we can catch his back or his side, and we catch side of his turret, so we put a shell to him right there, and we should be able to finish him off on the run in a split second. Let's see if we can. Turning his... I thought he was maybe turning his turret towards me, but he wasn't. So there we go. There's a game in a CDC. Let's take a look at the end plates and see how we did here. Again, nothing spectacular, just your average game. But we did end up with 2.8k damage, 1.4k assisted for a combined total of, what, 4.2k? Class 1 mastery. Again, nothing spectacular. Just a quick look at this tank. But, yeah, we finished second with 1524 base XP, 3 kills, 2.8, almost 2.9k damage. We fired 32 shells, we had 27 direct hits, and 14 penetrations. Anyway, let's switch to STA-2, and as I mentioned to you guys earlier, in this tank, I run a crew with only 1 skill and training second right now. So I only have 6 cents training brothers in arms. But yeah, STA-2 has preferential matchmaking, so yeah, from that perspective that tank is actually fantastic. Take a look at the stats of this tank. Penetration on standard shells, which are AP 212mm. Premium rounds are heat rounds with 275mm of penetration. You'll have no trouble penetrating anything with this tank, to be honest. Damage 240 average damage, just like CDC. Aim time 2.1 seconds, which is slightly better than CDC, but accuracy is slightly worse at 0.37. Turret armor, it's got a bit, 70mm of armor on the turret, so it is better than CDC, but don't count on bouncing anything. You'll get occasional bounce with this tank because it needs to be played closer than CDC. View range 380 meters, so 10 meters less than CDC, but again, you're not playing tier 10s, so 380 meter view range on this tank is absolutely fantastic. So again, like in CDC's case, we're gonna jump into one replay with this tank. Again, I played 6 or 7 games or something like that. And normally you'll find yourself doing about, well, I find myself doing somewhere between 2 and 3k damage with this tank. That's an average kind of damage game. Obviously you get worse games, you get better games every once in a while. My best ever in this tank, I think I did 5.5k damage. It's on my channel. If you guys want to check it out, there are actually 2 5k damage games. One is 5.1 and the other one is 5.5. That's my best result in this tank. Anyway, we are drawn on map Live Oaks, and we are on North Spawn, as you can see. So what I like doing on Live Oaks, I like to play 9 and 0 lines, simply because I think if you win that area of the map, 9-0 and then JK, you have access to the opposition's base, as well as you have access to your own base. So you don't really have to go all the way to town. You can actually win the game just from these positions here, and everything in the middle is wide open, so whoever crosses the middle is gonna get smoked, right? So I think to win this map is definitely you have to win 9-0 and JK. Town to me is irrelevant, to be honest, so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna come up here, and what I like is the position J8. So it is a bit aggressive position, and sometimes if you go into this position, the opposition can YOLO you, especially if you have no friendlies. So that's problematic sometimes, especially with friendlies being really cautious, not pushing far enough. They will just leave you there to die, and that happens every once in a while. But you know, sometimes you have to be aggressive to get your damage, and I like doing that because not only I'm gonna get my damage, I'm gonna get the spots, right? Plus this tank, like I mentioned to you earlier, it needs to be played closer because of the accuracy of the gun and not being the best. as you can see, mobility of this tank is fantastic, just like CDC. It gets up to 56 kilometers per hour or something like that. So we're gonna come up here right now. We spot this J-Panther 2. And even though I don't have enough gun depression now, again, I don't remember what gun depression on this tank is. I'll leave it in the captions below so that you guys can compare. But I think it's relatively good. We are able to poke out from over the ridge. We're overexposing a little bit, but nothing is really targeting us. So we're gonna chew down this Panther 2 with this rate of fire. I mean, rate of fire on this tank compared to CDC is very much alike, I would say. The gun on STA-2 is a little bit more derpy, definitely, than on CDC. Accuracy is not as good, but I think what makes this tank better, why I like this tank better than CDC, is definitely the preferential matchmaking, because it's fantastic to play this tank only versus tier 9s, to be honest. And tier 7s, right? Anyway, so we're gonna do step and repeat. We're gonna keep on firing this gun. We take out the Panther. It looked like our team pushed in, which is good. So we're gonna go after this Pershing right now. I was actually thinking about ramming him here, and he gets smoked and annihilated by Artie. So yeah, we're gonna move forward. Right here, we're gonna try to put some shells into the guy on the left, but then we notice that there is this TD sitting on top, and our gun accuracy says no, unfortunately, so we weren't able to hit him. But even, you know, with poor crew, like even if you look at that, that gun is still performing relatively well, right? I mean, only one crew skill, 2 crew skills, it doesn't really matter. Now that shot misses, not sure why. I'm sure I didn't need to lead it properly because T28 Proto is just so slow. But we're gonna keep on firing. We're gonna annihilate the opposition in this game, unfortunately. So I'm sorry guys, I couldn't get you a better game, but if you want more STA-2 gameplay, if you search my channel, there are few games on the channel with STA-2, and you will definitely enjoy them. Anyway, so we're gonna stay here. We're gonna poke over the ridge, see if there's anything else we can hit. I was actually counting on our team to start spotting here, but there's nothing here, so we're gonna go back and try to defend the base at this point. And that's why this position is so good. Oh, can we hit this guy? We lead it a little bit. Now, yes, we do. So with this tank, you have to lead your shots better than CDC, definitely. So there's an adjustment there. But since the game is almost over, like as you can see, I'm running through the middle. Normally I wouldn't do this. I wouldn't come to the middle like that. But because the opposition barely has any tanks, we're pretty much allowed to do this easily. Just like that. We just want to get more damage out of this game. That's all I was thinking right here. Yum yum, just more damage. So we're gonna be a little bit more aggressive. And that's another thing, because you're only playing tier 9s. You basically can't allow yourself to play a little bit more aggressive, while in CDC, if you play tier 10s, definitely you won't be able to play up close and personal in many cases, right? So that's another advantage of this tank. Now imagine if we ever go to +/-1 matchmaking, then this tank will only see, you know, its own tier, which would be even better with those penetration bodies that it has. It's just ridiculous how good this tank is. It's just great, and if you put a good crew in it, it's just fantastic. Now that shell derps, as you can see, it does that sometimes. Those shells derp, they tend to derp a little bit. Unfortunately, we miss out some damage over there. And here you can see the sniping ability of this tank from a distance. Again, we missed that shot. That's 460 meters. Very similar to the distance we're sniping with CDC, and we're hitting those shots here. And Stark is a very small silhouette. It's hard to hit. That shot hit but bounced for whatever reason. Maybe he just turned at the right time. So we take him out of the game. And now only Lycan remaining. Now, I'm a bit scared of Lycan, to be honest. That thing is pretty powerful. And I don't know if it's able to clip me out at this point? Probably not. But I still played it a little bit cautious. Probably I should have went full on blast to try to get this guy. But I saw him moving. I thought he was going to come after me, to be honest. Right here. That's a bad shot on my part. The aim circle was a little bit high. And he goes off and he runs off to where my enemy is instead of going after me where I was all by myself. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So he's gonna get taken out of the game quite easily. And just like that, we complete this game with a victory. Again, nothing spectacular, just your average game, but it shows you some abilities of this tank, what it's good at, what it's not good at. You saw me sniping with this tank a little bit. You saw me brawling with this tank a little bit. So we still finish with class 1 mastery, 2.8k damage. Almost 1000 assisted. Again, just an average game. So what would I recommend out of these two tanks? I don't know, it's up to you guys to decide. I do prefer STA better. I don't play CDC as much. Not sure why, but that's just my choice. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. That's it for now. Until next time, happy tanking. Space Bandit, checking out.